talk this.
It's dangerous to podcast alone.
I'm your... remember when they used to have the Animal Crossing house and you had to, wait in line for games? Host Madelyn.
I'm your Wild Bill's Soda.
Yeah!
Host Emma.
This podcast brought to you by Wild Bill's Old Fashioned Soda Pop Company. I've got my cup of Bill right
Mine's
here.
behind me somewhere.
Good. Isn't it great? Have you been using it? I've been using mine.
I haven't used it yet.
I'm using mine all the time. Hey, it's the PAX at PAX recap episode. We went to PAX East last week.
Yeah.
You know what? I felt like PAX East 2025, despite not being the return to pre-pandemic form that we had hoped it would be for the third year running, it was up there in the PAX rankings, I would say.
I had a fun time hanging out with you.
That's what I mean. I don't know that we played anything so remarkable in terms of games, but I do feel like we have perfected the PAX East experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, Emma, big picture takeaways? That was a loaded response to my saying it was fun.
I usually feel like even in weaker years, I've walked out of PAX being like, heck yeah, I'm going to play that when it comes out.
Teenage Exocolonist, whatever, yeah.
Yeah. This year, just not really,
That's a pretty damning indictment of the Talk This podcast mashup game development strategy, to be honest, because I feel like a solid third of the games we played, I was like, this is a mashup that we would have come up with if we were pretty on top of our game.
Well, we did play some fun co-op games, that's true.
Yes, local co-op, heavy representation, which I am thrilled about.
Yeah, it just we never get around to those unless you're visiting for a while and I think to buy something ahead of time. So...
No, I agree with that. Not a lot of big highlights. I mean, obviously, the big thing that should have been a big highlight was Elden Ring, Play with Your Three Friends, whatever it's called.
Night Rain.
Sure. We've had plenty of that this week.
So true.
But it wasn't a demo.
Yeah, it was just you could go inside a big dome and watch someone play. Seemed to be the vibe. And also it doesn't have crossplay, so we couldn't play it all together with Clickbait Boyfriend anyway. So who cares?
So shall we talk a little bit about some of the games and some of the experience and overall?
Yeah.
Actually, I'll say one more experience note. Man, why do they even do panels anymore?
Yeah, that was really bad.
Yeah.
There were just not very many, period.
Yeah, it used to be you really had to choose between panels. I don't feel like there were almost any time slots where there was more than one.
No, but yeah, we only went to one panel. There was maybe one or two that we might have been interested in, but they were at bad times, during lunch.
Yeah.
And we weren't that interested.
Yeah. Not enough to sacrifice our $20 bao buns.
Yeah, it's not I ever, panels are ever wow, that was really deep and fulfilling, because they're an hour long,
No, and they're mostly good for, you sit in them after lunch and you kind of try to keep your eyes open.
Yeah. But I feel like every other year we found at least one or two to go to every day. And
remember the wrestling panel? The wrestling panel was an all-timer, I think.
Yeah, that one was good. But, we went to a bunch. There was just nothing that looked at all interesting this year.
Yes, the only panel we went to was, is this day one?
Yeah, it was day one.
I think it was. It was on camp in video games, which was decently done, although I also feel like whenever anyone talks about camp, I'm just this is actually a thing that resists definition, and the more that you talk about it, the more that I, don't feel like the definition you're using is correct.
Right. No, there were definitely some interesting bits in it. I liked the, breaking down of elements, the use of drag queens, Catholicism, and the military, because I do think that's true.
That is
for
true.
A lot of camp is they're using that. And I hadn't really thought about it. I hadn't really thought about how much Catholicism is in camp before, but it super is. So
New American
stuff to
Pope,
think
baby.
about. But also, I was pretty sleepy. So
yeah. So Emma, did you have any gaming? We could do this chronologically if you want. That's one way we could approach it. That's how my notes are structured. But are there gaming highlights that you want to talk about?
Wild Bills, baby.
Let's use Wild Bills. I don't want to start with Wild Bills. This is a gaming podcast. We have to talk about games. We will talk about Wild Bills.
We have to talk about the soda.
We will talk about the soda. We will talk about the much anticipated Cup of Bill. But we gotta talk about games first.
Yeah, like, I don't know if I have any, so maybe chronologically is the best way to go.
Then I'll do it. Emma and I arrive at PAX sometime in the 9 o'clock hour on Thursday. Behind me, Eggman. With
in
Sonic.
front of us for a while. And
then behind us.
He was walking too slow.
He was carrying Sonic. He's not Sonic. Eggman is noted for being slower than Sonic, I think.
Yeah. Like, absolutely no line on Thursday to get into the building.
Yeah, waltz right in.
Yeah.
The Duolingo owl is there.
Just put him out of his misery already.
Fillet him. That's not what you do to a chicken.
He's not a chicken.
A bird. Poultry.
Okay.
I know he's not. I just called him I just said duo, the Duolingo owl. I didn't call him the Duolingo chicken. That would be pretty funny. If anyone at Duolingo is listening and you're doing your next stupid
Nobody works there anymore. So,
sorry, if any of the robots at Duolingo are listening, there have to still be people in the market. Like, the Twitter is not run by a robot.
Sure, that's the one employee they have
The
left.
thirsting after Dua Lipa or whatever is not done by ChatGPT.
Yes, I know. That's, like I said, that's the one employee they have.
Great. So if the one employee at Duolingo is listening to this podcast, consider doing an arc where Duolingo is a chicken.
Yeah.
And he's so scared because he thinks you're not gonna do your duo that day.
Yeah, because he's a chicken. I get it.
Yes. Bok, bok, bok.
Yeah.
Not so much. There was like decent. You know what I was thinking? Did I say this to you? I don't remember if I said this to you.
I don't know.
So the cosplay overall across the weekend was okay, if not great.
Yeah.
But did I say the thing to you about the Cult of the Lamb and like a conclave?
I don't think so.
Okay, we saw a lot of Cult of the Lamb cosplay.
Yeah.
Which is surprising. I mean, it's not. Like, it's an easy cosplay. Devolver was like the only big game in town. And it's not that old, and Cult of the Lamb obviously has a cult following. Ha ha ha. But I thought it would have been really funny, especially had the Pope not been like chosen while we were there, day one or whatever, for them to have all, like, I was like, oh, what if everybody's dressed as Cult of the Lamb because they're doing like a Cult of the Lamb conclave, which I think would have been really funny.
That would have been pretty good.
I'm upset if they didn't do it. Anyway, weird amount of Cult of the Lamb. Obviously a lot of Final Fantasy. No Barrett.
Nope.
No Barrett spottings.
No Barrett spottings.
Someday.
No Kate Siths either. So.
That would be sick. To be honest. As like a couple's costume too.
A couple of with you and the Moogle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That would be really, really cool. I would really support that.
That'd be a good, like, parent-child one, too, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, we did see little baby Pikachu. Yeah. We did see Dog dressed as Moogle. That was good.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we're talking about games. And now I'm like, let's talk about costumes. Okay.
A lot of Elden Ring ones, also.
Yes. Decent amount of probably Genshin ones.
Yes.
Weirdly amount of Luffies.
Yes.
Very strange. Anyway, line goes away. We jump right to Batsu at the Devolver booth. We did not play Maiko, whatever. Maiko Punk?
It was something like that, yeah.
Which is like a first-person mushroom shooter.
That side already had like a line by the time we were over there, but Botsu it did not yet.
Yes. And that line, granted, had we gotten that line at that point, it was obviously the shortest it was all weekend, and we could have played it, but it did already have a line. Emma and I are not great at first-person shooters.
Yeah.
Everyone would have watched us be not great at first-person shooters.
Yeah.
we did not opt into that experience. Instead, we opted into an experience where we could get humiliated at kind of a Fall Guys like.
Yeah. I was gonna say, everybody could watch us suck at 3v3
robot seesaw
last
combat.
person on the platform. Yeah.
You correctly identified this, I think, as another, like, should be a better genre description, right? But another one sort of like disposable Fall Guys kind of esque game.
Yeah, this one feels a little different just because it's not like massively multiplayer, right? It is for it does seem to be for a discrete number of people. I think they have other modes than the one we played as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did feel very Fall Guys, other than that.
It's a shame that Fall Guys is not a genre that's really monetizable.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Because it's fun. I enjoyed the month that remember when you won?
Yeah, we have a blog on our blog about me winning Fall Guys.
Unbelievable. But Fall Guys is really fun, and it's a shame that like those games can't exist.
Yeah, there's just too many of them.
Well, and we just don't like party games if it's not with our friends, I guess.
Yeah,
which reasonable, but. Anyway, it was fun. I do feel like there were controls that we were not told about.
Yeah, you were supposed to try to like knock the other team off of this sort of tilting platform, and they did tell us how to hold, although I think that was after I'd fallen off once.
Nice.
So you can like hold on to the platform, and how to hit. So
But it did seem like maybe
feel like the other team had a few more moves going on, like kicking.
So it was not our fault that we lost 5-1.
Kicking did not seem to be the same button as hitting, from my experience. So, I don't know.
Basically, we humiliated ourselves, but it was fine.
Yeah.
After that, we went and posed with the Buster Sword from
Yes.
Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
And Final Fantasy VII.
Yes. Probably also, what are the other ones? Advent Children.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Whatever the Zack one is that Emma played that I didn't, etc.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts.
Yes, from the Buster Sword from Kingdom Hearts, exactly.
Yes.
Actually, it's not, because it doesn't have the bandages on it.
Does it not? Oh, I'm sorry. I was like, the one in Kingdom Hearts definitely has bandages on it.
That's the only one that has bandages on it, is what
I understand what you were saying now. I saw a really great meme about Tetsuya Nomura that I need to show you after this.
Okay, looking
but
forward
it's
to it.
I was like, I should send this to Emma on Instagram. And I was like, that's dumb. She'll look at it in 3 months. Anyway, we posed with the Buster Sword. Dang, that thing was heavy.
Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting.
I was expecting a fake plastic Buster Sword that was not heavy.
Yeah, it wasn't like as heavy as the actual thing would be.
No, it was not real heavy. As has been discussed many times, the strength of magnet required to hold that sword is not realistic to him being able to swing it like that. Anyway. But yes, we took pick.
Yes. Madelyn made them do 2 poses. She was very greedy.
I did. I wanted to do the, and I didn't even do a good job of it, really. I wanted to do the album art.
I think it looked pretty good.
The album art, yikes. I wanted to do the box art.
Yeah. I understood what you meant.
Okay, I'm saving Bills. We went to Wild Bills, but I want to save Bills as a day 1, day 2 intermission discussion.
Sure.
But imagine that we went to Wild Bills.
Yeah.
I didn't actually look up what this game was called in my notes. This game was not called something fairer.
Sigil Farer.
Sigil Farer. You did look it up.
I have a button.
Yes, we made a trek to PAX's weirdest and yet most consistent booth. Games from Poland.
Yep.
So odd.
They always have a really big booth. It's called having a country that cares about funding the arts, Madelyn.
Well, they just did another round of that, so good. But like, it's just like crazy place to put that funding. Like, why would you put that funding into a booth at PAX East? It's really funny to me.
I don't know.
Anyway, we played Sigil Farer, which was a turn-based roguelite Although we didn't really engage with the roguelite of it all in our testing of it.
I just waited until I died, and then we
stopped.
Yeah.
This one was like sort of like I was like, okay, turn-based combat. It was very janky looking, which I imagine some of which will get. The intention is probably to smooth out. But that was my favorite part of it.
Yeah, they were kind of little cute little guys.
And like the attacks were very like they were not smooth.
No.
Right? It was very like, this is a very low budget flip book kind of vibe. So like they should consider not smoothing it out, and you should consider going back and listening to our podcast on jank, if that's something you're interested in thinking about.
It didn't really feel like I had a lot of control at that whatever stage of the game the demo puts you in. Like,
yeah, you did sort of just seem like you were getting dealt what to do.
Yeah, you get rolled hands and then you can use them and you kind of just see what happens. There's some element of like you can choose who to attack and who to defend when you roll those things, but it felt kind of like a deck builder without like the deck part.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was like, is Emma doing something? I was watching Emma play this one. Like, is she moving things around and I'm not realizing it? No, it just seemed very random.
Yeah.
Also at Games from Poland, we played Bite Bond, which apparently had its own main booth too. So kind of hacked the system because it was much easier to walk up and play it at Games from Poland. This was not like my favorite local co-op of the weekend, but it was a local co-op like kind of robot, like if Portal was not first person.
Yeah, sure.
Not really. It's in that it's about robots. That's not really a good comparison. But anyway, you have two players. They're like little robots, and like the point of the puzzle is you're moving electricity around, right? So we actually tried to start this one on like level 7 or whatever.
Yeah.
We were like, no idea what's going on here.
Yeah.
And it became much clearer when you went back to the beginning and the game actually taught you what was happening.
We were just trying to move this like one box around. Like, we're like, surely if we put this box somewhere, that'll do something.
It did not. It was not the box. You had to be sucking up the electricity and moving it around. No boxes. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I found this one kind of fun.
Yeah. It reminded me, last time you were here, we played this little local co-op game that I got free from, like, the PlayStation Plus. It was called, like, oh man, I don't remember what it's called. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Where you're, like,
I do. It was this like snarky little guy. I wonder if I have it. When was I there?
An AI test.
Did I have this in my notes? I feel like we forgot to talk about this on the show because I'm not seeing it in my notes.
But anyway, it reminded me of that.
Yes, I agree. It reminded me of this game that we may or may not have talked about on the podcast. They had like a snark, like at the end of each level, the guy was kind of like said something kind of snarky.
Yeah, it was like he was like doing like testing, of like these little blocks' like capabilities, and how far you could get without messing up.
But yes, some clever little puzzly stuff. I think it would be an amusing way to spend a weekend or whatever. So Bite Bond I would play. I would also play Desktop Survivors 98. Because, man, I love Vampire Survivors. Vampire Survivors is a good game. And you should just make more... Like, maybe what I was realizing is that I actually want to go back and play Vampire Survivors again. Like, that is kind of the problem. Is that, like, do I actually need another one of these?
Yeah.
But it did kind of scratch the itch of that effectively. Man, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, ooh... I should play that.
Let's move on quickly.
Ooh, I should play that. Anyway, the gimmick of this one, right? Okay, we all know what Vampire Survivors is, right? Like, you move around, projectiles auto-fire, you kill things on the screen, right? Yeah. This one was a little different in that there were, like, rooms, right? Vampire Survivors are just in, like, a big area. This one you did have, like, discrete rooms to move to. I did appreciate that. But I thought that what they were telling us... So we played this on, like... you know, Windows 98 computers, right? Because that was kind of the gimmick. Like, Clippy is, like, the mascot of this. But I feel like what they were saying at the booth is that the point of this game is that it overlays over your actual desktop.
Yeah.
which is
That's
interesting.
also what it sounded like to me. Yeah.
You've seen my you commented on my desktop.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
Every couple weeks I just throw everything into a folder called desktop clean. Desktop clean again. Desktop cleanup. Desktop cleanup 2.
That'll work.
Well, it does get it off my desktop.
Sure.
I need to, one of these days I should sit down and just like clear all my files. One of these days.
But yeah, I didn't really understand how it might display over your desktop. I guess that's why it has rooms, so that you can like stop.
Right.
But yeah, it didn't display like that in the demo that they were showing. They did have physical copies available for sale. I don't think it's out yet on Steam, but they did have, you could buy like a actual like game disc to put into your computer if you have one.
It was cute.
Yeah.
After that, we played what I imagine is probably one of your top games of the weekend, I think.
Yeah, this was fun.
Scramble Star Crossing. You want to talk about this one?
Yeah, so it's like a competitive match 3 game, essentially. I think they also had
to match 3 now.
They had like cooperative mode too, I think. And also like a solo endless mode, I believe. But we did competitive, of course. And there's a bunch of different characters you can pick. I don't remember if they had like any specific effects. If they did, I did not figure them out, like based on what character that you pick.
They had like different special moves, but we didn't play deeply enough to really understand the activation of those, I would say.
But anyway, you're both playing on your own like match 3 grid. There's ones coming from the left and right of you. What you need to do is like pick up blocks of the same color and then shoot them one way or the other to clear out blocks that match together. And you want to get like chains and big combos because that'll send like locked blocks over to your competitor that they will need to clear and will be more difficult to clear than just normal ones. And you also build up like a special bar that I just completely forgot about. I think for most of the time we were playing it, probably would have made it easier, but oh well. And yeah, you just sort of compete that way. So we just played around with it. Madelyn won, like, barely.
I didn't think either of us did a very good job.
No.
It feels like the kind of game that you get much better at.
Yeah.
With a little practice.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, I guess I could do this or that thing. And I was like, oh, oops.
Yeah.
So that one was a highlight. I would play that one. I don't know if I'd like seek it out, but yeah. I would play it. We had so many. We had like a period of time on Thursday where we just played like local co-op after local co-op after local co-op. After this one, we played a game called Cappy and Tappy.
Yeah, this was at the PAX Rising booth.
Yes. PAX Rising, really the only good booth left, and games from Poland. So we played Cappy and Tappy, which was a co-op platformer, very Talk This coded in that like the game is that one of you is doing kind of like the normal platforming guy, and the other person is placing Tetris blocks to create those platforms. I imagine it gets much more complex.
Yeah.
Because like we seem to have like pretty much unlimited blocks and like whatever, and Emma trapped me inside of them one time, and we just blew it up with dynamite, and that was fine. But
there were only 3 dynamites, to be fair. Those were limited.
I know. But I imagine that there's more complexity to it than that.
Yeah.
Like, the dynamite can't only be used for like your buddy's an idiot and trapped you in a 1x1 square.
Hey.
Right?
Yeah.
Sorry. But it was neat. I mean, again, I appreciate any game that has big Talk This mashup energy. Right?
I don't remember what game we mashed Tetris up with. It was probably
I remember that we did a bad job.
Yeah.
I remember that was one of the earliest ones where we were like, because I think about this when we do mashups all the time. I feel like it's the Tetris theory of mashups, which is that if a game is so simple, it is often very hard to mash up because you just don't have enough. Like it becomes like, oh, well, that core element still needs to be part of the other game, and then really you're just making some kind of variation of Tetris. This would actually be, like, this was a much better job, I'm sure, than whatever we did. I feel certain of that, although I do not remember what we did.
Yeah.
Greatest games of all time, though. Sometimes the greatest game of all time. Tetris.
Usually the greatest game of all time, Tetris.
That's so effed. That's such a dumb... It's like saying the Epic of Gilgamesh is the best book of all. Like, right? Come on.
Maybe it is. I don't know. I haven't read the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Yeah. What's his friend's name in the Epic of... You remember?
Milgamesh.
His friend's name is not Milgamesh.
No, I have no idea. I think I actually know anything about the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Enkidu.
Okay, yeah.
You said, okay, yeah, you don't know who the heck Enkidu is.
No.
He was a legendary figure in ancient Mesopotamian mythology. Wartime comrade and friend of Gilgamesh, king of Uruk.
I think I did see a funny, like, text post beam that was like, oh, I can't believe what's happening in the Epic of Gilgamesh right now. Enki mesh shippers, is there any fuel for going forward?
Look, people also ask who was in love with Gilgamesh. Here's what Yale University Press says. Gilgamesh falls in love with Enkidu, caressing him like a woman.
Damn.
But when Enkidu tries to stop him violating brides, they fight. They turn out to be equally matched, so they kiss and make friends and embark on heroic adventures.
Damn.
So
Enki mesh shippers.
Enki mesh shippers have got plenty of fuel. I've gotta say. Hold on. I mean, who knows what happens after that? Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, Tetris. All this to say, yeah, Cappy and Tappy did sort of violate the Tetris rule of Talk This Mashups in that it was a good mashup made from Tetris.
Yeah.
But that's another one I would play because you know what else? You know what other game energy that game has?
Trine?
Yes! You got it!
I know how much you love stacking boxes in Trine.
Fine time for Trine time. Fine time for Trine time. God, when are they going to make Trine 6? This podcast is going off the rails.
We played another one at PAX Rising after this.
Yes, Emma did. Whirllight, No Time to Trip.
Did I? I did play this. You're right.
You did.
Yeah, it wasn't for me.
I feel like good.
Yeah, I feel like if you're into like the classic point and click adventure games, this would be like an amusement for you. Just wasn't my thing.
Yes, point and click adventure game. You play as like this like author, right? I think
he's an inventor.
Oh, inventor, that might be it. Whatever, creative type.
Sure.
Who in the demo you're kind of traversing this sort of like weird and surreal.
He's having a dream. He's like looking for inspiration in his dream or something. Yes,
but also the people at the booth were like, "There's time travel, ha ha ha!" Not to spoil. So there's time travel. But yes, very classic point and click adventure. Like figure out, click on the right thing in your inventory to solve the puzzle, whatever. Yeah. It was pretty. It was like fun art style, I'd say. But I agree. I do not crave LucasArts myself. So not one that I would seek out. Although if you are hungry for Monkey Island, probably you should look into this. Yeah. Like it seemed amusing.
Did you say what it was called?
Whirllight, No Time to Trip. I did say that.
Okay. I couldn't remember and I wanted to make sure.
Ain't trippin'. Man, we played a bunch of games in a row where it's like, oh, just Emma played. But next up we played Sunset High.
Yeah, I thought this one was interesting.
This one to me feels like the most like, oh, this could be an Emma game.
Yeah, you're somebody in high school. I think I named myself S, lowercase s.
Yes, and that was really weird in the dialogue, actually.
It was. I didn't realize it was lowercase, but that's how it worked. And your crush has like gone missing. And I wanted to be your crush Kay, who is not Tifa. Yeah. I really put some thought into like, who do you like? And versus my own name, that was just lowercase s. And that's the part that was like, no, You like K. Uppercase K, actually. So, like, you go to class and you're trying to find out about K, but also you seem sort of stuck in this weird, like, preordained path thing, and, like, it's a little vague on, like, you're supposed to, like, get out of it. Like, I did get the sense, like, the developer was, like, right there, and when he was asking, like, how's it going, I was like, is this, like, a tutorial thing? Right? This, like shadow version of myself that I'm supposed to, like, follow, and I can't move anywhere else without, like, the screen glitching. And he's like, well, you know, you can, like, sort of break out of that. And for what it's worth, I do think I would have tried. Right? I do think because I asked, I was at the point where I was like, this feels weird that I'm still doing it. But it is a little bit obtuse.
And that's a tricky balance,
yeah.
Right? Because there was something cool about the idea that, and thematic too,
yeah,
right? That to, like, break out of the path, you have to, like, break the rule and try to break out of the path.
Yeah.
So it's a weird balance between you don't want the player to miss things or, like, feel frustrated or stuck or whatever, but also you don't want to hold their hand and be like, hey, did you know that you don't have to do the thing the game is telling you to do?
Yeah. You do start getting, like, objectives that you have trouble accomplishing if you don't break out of it. Apparently I was the first one to get that kid out of class.
People were not trying hard enough.
They really
weren't. It
seemed
that hard.
It wasn't. You have to, like, agree to help him get out of class and also then proceed to go through it, I guess. So it's just, like, a couple of steps you have to take. But yeah, I thought the dialogue was fun that we were reading.
It was kooky.
Yeah.
In a way that felt, like, authentically charming and not just, like,
yeah.
But yes, it did seem like the kind of game that you play at PAX and then talk about on the podcast, like, 9 months later.
Yeah.
Even though that's not where this game is. After that, we went to lunch. Yummy, yummy. That's, by the way, that's, like, the biggest endorsement of going to PAX on Thursday that I can give you. We played 8 demos before a relatively early lunch. And that involved waiting in line at Wild Bill's. And taking a photo with the heavy Buster Sword.
Yeah.
So, you know, don't ruin it for us.
We did not do as well after lunch.
We did not. To be fair, we went to a panel. We went to the camp panel. We talked about that. Yeah. And we were tired.
Yeah.
But, still, the way to go to PAX is on Thursday.
Yeah.
People who just go on, like, Saturday don't know what they're doing. But yes, after lunch, we really only played 2 horror games. We bought a bunch of stuff. We did some, like, merch shopping, too.
Yes, we bought Madelyn so much tea.
To be fair, most of the tea I bought in Boston was outside of PAX. But yes, I did buy 3 things of tea at PAX. I had one of them. I've tried the Lapsang Souchong one. It's quite good.
Good. And I got some coffee and an Alan Wake thermos.
Yes.
And we looked at a lot of the like, old game reseller booths.
Team Buddy's nowhere to be seen.
No.
Continues to probably be. Do you think Fall Guys was inspired by Team Buddies? I think that's they ripped the idea from there. I feel like they look the same.
I don't know if Team Buddies has, like, domain over, like, round little bean guy, you know?
I guess. I beg to differ.
Okay.
Yes, we looked at a bunch of that stuff. I should have gotten in line to get the Balatro cards. I didn't realize they were a pre-order.
Yeah.
That's okay. That would have been cool. Do you think they come with, like, seals and crap?
I don't know what that means.
Oh, have you not played? Is that really?
I have not played Balatro.
I'm like singing the song to I like can't talk about it with the song playing in my head.
I'm gonna assume you mean the marine creature.
Yeah, do you think they come with with baby seals?
Yeah, I think so.
No, I want to make some of the cards. Do you think some of the cards are polychrome, Emma? Do you think it comes
I'm sure.
Can you change the suits?
Probably not.
That's too bad.
But yeah, then we played 2 other little games.
Yes. So we played No, I'm Not a Human, which I feel like was your most skeptical game.
Yeah, I was very skeptical of it. This was at one of like
It's crazy that you were more skeptical of this than the Lacerator, which we will talk about.
But I am more skeptical of this than the Lacerator for reasons we can talk about when we get to the Lacerator, I guess. But this was on like a showcase that I watched sometime recently too, this one. And I was skeptical of it there too. But you played it, so you can sort of explain it.
Okay, so you're a weird little guy in a house. And there's some kind of zombie apocalypse thing happening. I don't think we call them zombies. We're not allowed to call them zombies. But zombie apocalypse event.
They felt more like aliens.
Yeah, but like people are turning into them, right? Like, I don't know. Whatever. Some kind of bad human-like things out there in the world. And you're in this house, and your neighbor tells you, hey, dude, like people are going to come up to your door. And you need to decide whether to let them come in the door or not. Very, Game That Invented narrative, right? Very opening scene of The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Run them down with the car.
Yeah.
And if you let them in, you also have a certain amount of like conversation energy points to talk to them in your house, and using what you've learned from newscasts or just general vibes, decide if you actually think they are alien zombies, and then you can kill them.
Yeah.
Positives, I guess. It's like very like PS1 spooky janky, right? Which is of course the It aesthetic. But talk to me about your reservations about this game.
I mean, just the concept, right? Of like looking at someone and being like, your teeth are too white, time to die. Right, or whatever. Just like bad vibes. The ones you got was like their teeth are too nice, like whatever. That's probably not a existing racial stereotype, but like I feel like has so much potential to cross there, right? And already sort of evokes that, and I didn't really get the vibe that it was like doing anything with that.
Back against any of that.
Yeah.
Or that it was making you, the player, feel uncomfortable at any point on purpose or whatever.
Yeah. It just sort of felt like evoking a feeling of someone who's just sort of uncomfortable with other humans in general, with some of like the art style and the way that the characters were portrayed. And I don't know. It's possible it has something to say about that. But it, from the beginning impression, it really just felt like kind of like edgy without really doing anything with that.
Well, the PS1 horror aesthetic does basically nothing for me, even though it's very trendy. So it's not something that I'm tempted to play.
It's not PS1 horror aesthetic in like the Resident Evil sense.
No, I just mean the like low res, this is a horror game.
Yeah.
Vibes. And then we also played oneway.exe, which, full disclosure, I had to kind of like look up to remind myself what it was.
But also at PAX Rising.
Yes, also a horror game. This one's about some game devs who've discovered like it's very meta, right? Like there's these game devs who are reconstructing a horror game from like source code that they found. It's sort of like point and click style, although 3D. Like struggled with this a little bit. Very like linear, like things will appear in the order you need them, so you have to like look back around the room a lot.
Yeah.
Not really my thing, but it was creepy. It was, created a vibe.
It didn't seem to be like bringing up the impression I had from Because it's sort of like you're in, like, there's like a desktop element to it too that you didn't really get to, I feel like.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It might have a few aesthetics going on. And then we went home and went to sleep. No, I think we did watch a couple episodes of The Last of Us while we were at PAX.
We are caught up on The Last of Us.
We are not caught up on The Last of Us. We're a week behind and will be 2 weeks behind by the end of today.
You're right. Perhaps. Perhaps, you never know. We could be caught up.
You're right.
But yes, you're right. God, there's only, that means there's only one more. Well, two more, I guess, because it's tonight.
Yep.
But that's crazy, man. Nothing. Because the big story element here doesn't even feel like it's like so baked. Okay, sorry. PAX. That means that it'll be done. We'll have to be ready for it by the 7-week podcast.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
fun. That's cool.
Yeah, we should do that.
We'll stay current. So Saturday comes, but before Saturday, we ought to talk about the highlight of the weekend. Wild Bill's old-fashioned soda pop company. So for those unfamiliar, or who have not been listening to the podcast the past few weeks, Wild Bill's is a PAX mainstay. They sell these big reusable mugs, from which I'm about to take a sip of water. I don't really drink soda normally, like at all, basically. But Wild Bill's sells expensive mugs that come with free refills of soda for a day, as much as you can drink.
Yeah.
And Wild Bill's, Emma and I always thought Wild Bill's was very funny, right? Like, it's a silly name. The mugs are kind of silly. Why would you spend that amount of money on a mug and soda? And yet, last year, Mountain Dew, big Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
The Goliath in this story.
We mourned them when
Pushed
Mountain
out
Dew.
Bill. We missed Bill.
Yeah.
So this year we vowed if they were back that we would get Bill's mugs and drink the soda, and lo and behold, we did. We are both the proud owner of absolutely not dishwasher safe, per the booth man. Bill's mugs.
And
Blue,
you know what?
Sparkly Bill's mugs.
They are not that absurd pricing wise. At least the ones we got.
The ones that we got are not. The ones that are $70 are.
Yeah, so we got the smallest and the non-PAX branded. And, like, smallest is, like, relative. It is still a big mug.
No, it's a big mug.
And they're $40 each. Which, if you're buying refills for a single day, that's $10. So $10 of that is for the unlimited refill for the day. So it's really just, it's a $30 big insulated mug.
Yeah.
So, like, that's not actually that bad as far as mugs go.
No, the blue one's really not bad. The giant, the homophobic rainbow steins, as Emma said, that are like $70. Homophobic because they're so expensive, to be clear.
They're marking up the rainbow. It's the rainbow tax.
That's right. Also the PAX tax. So yes, but like, you know what? I'm more excited to rep Wild Bill's than PAX, so.
Yeah, very true. And
actually
also the blue is
well.
just it was pretty.
It's by far the best mug. It was nice that it was cheapest.
Yep.
Anyway, over the course of the weekend, we tried most of the Bill's flavors. We tried Rocket Pop, we tried sugar-free blueberry, we tried strawberries and cream, we tried vanilla cream, and we tried black cherry.
Yes.
We
did not try the sugar-free key lime that they had on Saturday.
And Emma would not let me try the watermelon ring pop.
Yeah.
We also didn't get root beer because Emma doesn't like root beer.
Yes. Probably the Rocket Cola was my favorite.
Rocket Pop,
classic.
Emma.
Rocket Pop, whatever. It tasted like cola. Was mostly kind of classic with a few like interesting flavor notes to it. I felt like most of the others were like a little too sweet for me.
Did you find it disconcerting that the Rocket Pop was clear?
Kind of, yeah. I think they all were clear, which was interesting.
Oh, I guess I didn't really look at them.
My blueberry one was clear as well.
But things
I don't
have to
know
be
if the
color...
strawberries was like red.
Things
or
have to be the
whatever.
color they taste.
I
Things
know.
have to be the color they taste.
Yes, exactly. Cola inherently tastes brown, obviously.
That's
So
right.
It has to be brown.
I think black cherry might have been my favorite. I like the Rocket Pop. I felt like black cherry was also effectively like, it was sweet. They were all really sweet. And I can't even speak to that. Like, are they really sweet relative to soda? Or have I just not drunk like anything but, like the only soda I drink is like fancy little like $11 ones at restaurants. Like house-made sodas.
They were pretty sweet. I mostly drink just ginger ale now, but I do have orange soda on occasion, and that's pretty sweet. These were sweeter than like orange Fanta to me.
But I think I liked the black cherry best. I didn't mind, like, yeah, the strawberries and cream. I mean, I mean, sugar-free blueberry was for me by far the worst.
Yeah,
I would say.
I agree.
And then I felt like, I think I liked strawberries and cream. This is what you tune into PAX for, right? In-depth soda reviews.
It is.
Did I say tune into PAX? Tune into Talk This.
Both.
I think I liked the strawberries and cream slightly more than the vanilla and cream. But that might also be because the strawberries and cream was my first hit of Bill.
Right.
But the vanilla cream was really sweet. Shocking.
They have them in these like kegs too, so when you pull it, like it like foams up the top, which I feel like is a way, because it's really hard to fill up your mug without spilling it all over yourself.
It's true. Yes. It's just like spitting foam all over you.
Yeah.
And like you have to be bold enough to be like, no, I'm gonna wait for the foam to go down.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna fill up more.
Which was possible on Thursday, but on Saturday was like you just have to take what you get and move along.
I was surprised that I did not see once anyone creating mashup flavors.
They did not seem to want you to.
Well, obviously they want you to have the pure, unadulterated Bill experience as intended. Right. But a cherry cola seems really natural.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or, the full bill, as they call it.
That's what they call it? The full bill?
A little bit of each.
Right, yeah.
Probably would taste pretty much the same as the vanilla cream. That's my theory.
Yeah.
Anyway, we both had mugs on day 1. We just brought back Emma's on day 2. That's really the way to do it if you have someone with whom... I didn't get your cold, by the way.
Good.
So, do you have someone with whom you are not afraid to share a straw or spit or whatever?
I did not bring a straw.
No, we didn't bring the straw the second day. But if you have someone with whom you are not afraid to share a cup of Bill.
Don't say
that. No, I won't. I had another joke, but I won't do it.
Okay.
Then the cost of, and if you don't care about both, like we both wanted mugs, right? If you don't care about that, the cost effective thing to do is to definitely, and I'm sorry, Bill, that I'm saying this because I know this is not the spirit of the all you can drink soda, but like you should share with someone. That is enough soda.
Yeah.
Anyway, this podcast brought to you by Wild Bill's Old Fashioned Soda Pop Company.
Yeah.
By which I mean I paid for their mug.
Yeah.
But Saturday, we played some more games. Crazy at PAX, I know.
Yeah.
We started out with Nocturne, which is also at PAX Rising, right?
Yep.
That's probably our longest line of the weekend.
I really thought it wouldn't take as long as it did, but it very much did take as long as it did.
Well, the problem was, it seems like, I don't know what happened. Like, the first people who were there took forever.
Yes.
We were, like, freaking out a little. Not freaking out. That's exaggerating the emotional state. We were like, this demo is way too long. Like,
yeah.
It can't be a half an hour long. That's insane. And lo and behold, it was not. It was somewhere between 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But yeah, we were like, oh, we're going to be here forever. But we've already invested. Anyway, another big Talk This Mashup energy game, because it was an RPG with like rhythm game combat elements, like Guitar Hero rhythm game combat. I thought this was cool. I thought the rhythm game part was like pretty legit. We watched somebody absolutely bite it trying to play like the hardest, like someone who confidently selected the hardest difficulty level and then had to turn it down twice.
Yeah. I'm glad that he did, though, for what it's worth. It was very considerate of him.
Yeah, no, I know. He didn't just keep trying it.
Yeah.
I think for me, when I played this, I was like, oh, I am actually not feeling like the rhythm is hard. I am feeling like playing this on a keyboard and remembering which button is which is hard for me.
Yeah.
Something about doing it with 2 fingers on each hand was not tracking correctly into my brain. Maybe I should have tried to do it 4-finger. I actually think that maybe trying to do that, like it was a piano, might have been easier. Because I kept messing up. I'm like, oh, it's the second one. And like, I was using my ring fingers a lot, which are not fingers that were in use. Mm-hmm. So basically I'm dumb. But my worry with this game is that like I feel like one of the elements of these kinds of like it's an RPG with like combat that's from a different genre is something is always underbaked.
Yeah.
And I think in this one it will be the RPG is my guess.
Yeah.
The rhythm game seemed great, but I'm worried that it's like, oh, like actually the game that's around this rhythm game, because this is a cool idea, like a legit RPG with like a legit rhythm game combat, sick. But I'm worried that the legit RPG is not really there.
Definitely some work still to do on like the menus and stuff, which to be fair, that is usually like a ending thing that you do, so that's fair. But like,
no, I'd check this out again for sure. I'm just like, oh, okay, this didn't immediately jump out to me as like, yes, this is gonna be a slam dunk.
Yeah,
I was like, this is a cool idea, there's some good stuff here, be interested to see how it develops.
Then we tried to get in line for a game called Soulmates, and the developer was like, please don't.
Yeah, well, he was like, from here, the line's probably like an hour, maybe more.
So we're like, okay.
There weren't, we commented during when we were there, that it didn't feel like there were as many, like such a PAX staple is the indie game that was not prepared, they're all indie games, but like the little game that was not prepared for everyone to want to play it.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like there were as many of those this time or in as dramatic a way, but Soulmates definitely felt like it might have been like the most that game of the conference.
Yeah, they just felt like they needed like one more station. They only had one station.
Yeah, it would have gone so much faster.
Yeah, to be fair, it is a 4-person co-op game. That's why we wanted to try it, right? It's sort of like it has similar Overcooked vibes, except you're on like a spaceship.
It's Overcooked meets Among Us.
Yeah. Because Among Us is in space, exactly.
Yes. Well, yes. And it's a game you play with other people.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not saying that it has any other Among Us elements. It just kind of looked Among Us-y.
Yeah. But so they technically were taking 4 people at a time, but like, the next place we went and played Rah Rah Boom, which we can talk about for a second, but they had 3 stations in like a similar sized booth.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was much faster for getting people like in and out of playing it, right?
Yeah. No, that one barely had a line. We like almost didn't have to wait at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. We played Rah Rah Boom, which is beat 'em up for 4 players. We played it on the arcade thing, which was fun. So it's kind of
fun just us 2 because the people around us were all in groups of 4. So
yeah, so Emma and I, the strong duo. It's a good one of those games.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
We were pretty bad at it.
Still got an A+, baby.
I was pretty bad at it. Let's just say that.
That's true. Emma really
I didn't realize for a bit that if you die as one character, you can pick, if there are other unused characters, you can pick another one of the characters and get back in. So, like, good to know, I guess.
You could have died more faster.
I could have died even faster. Exactly.
I don't have deep thoughts on this one. I don't know. It's like okay, like I really liked River City Girls.
Yeah.
Right? And like, was this as good as River City Girls? No. But it was fun. And like, again, it'd be a fun game to like play pretty casually with your buds.
Yeah. I also just really like it whenever a game has like the arcade setup for it.
It's cool.
So we did play it on the like arcade with the joystick and the buttons.
There were perhaps too many buttons.
I don't think it's meant for the arcade necessarily, but it was fun to play it on that. It feels more meant for controller.
Given that it had like 8 buttons, I could say that it is maybe not meant for the arcade.
But it was fun.
No, it was cool. I'm glad we did it that way. More on arcades to come.
Yeah.
After that, we played the aforementioned The Lacerator.
Yes.
Which, man, if you want to talk about jank, if you want to talk about camp,
that's The Lacerator.
I was worried about, you know what, The Lacerator knows what it's doing, right?
Yeah, that is the difference between like that and No, I Am Not Human. Is like, this one is so like, it introduces the Lacerator as no, you're not the Lacerator. I don't remember what his name is.
Me either.
But it introduces him as the man who loves sex. So like, yeah, sure.
He's like a porn star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get, like, kidnapped by the Lacerator, and have to figure out, you know, how to get out of there. Apparently you lose a lot of limbs, seemed to be the vibe I was getting from the blurb.
Yeah. Well, we saw one of those happen.
Yeah.
It was alright. You know, again, like, sort of tanky, janky graphic, whatever.
Really, really janky. You know, like, there are things that are, like, you know, PS1 style that are still, like, quite smooth, detailed, right? This was, like...
jank.
Bro is like a Bro is a Dorito.
Yeah. It
Bro
was charming. It did a good job with it, I think.
Yeah.
Am I going to purchase the Lacerator? No, I am
not.
But it was like, kind of charming.
Yeah.
In its, like, grossness. Did we get stuck? Yes.
Yes.
So, not good at it. Emma thinks it's because I didn't pick up the revolver right away. Which is because, 1, I did not notice it. And 2, I saw a note that was like, the revolver's a trap. Which Emma rightly pointed out while we were there. She was like, probably that's supposed to be like a funny joke after the fact. Because, spoiler, when you pick up the revolver, it is a trap and your arm gets cut off.
Yes.
But... I saw that and was like, great, I will not pick up the gun.
Yeah. No, I think just we got a little lost, and there's always pressure when playing demos where, like, you have to figure out a puzzle or you have to get through, like, a hard part where, like, you just start playing worse. This will come up again.
Oh, I don't even have that. I don't even have yours where you played that game in my notes.
It was after Jackbox time, so.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like, you know, there's games when you're playing it by yourself and it's like, oh, I figured that out, you know. But when there's someone waiting in line behind you, it's like your brain no longer functions.
Yeah, you're like, uh-oh. After The Lacerator, I played Idle Clicker Game, Cell to Singularity Evolution.
That sounded like it was out in early access already.
It did, because somebody was there being like, I love this game. And she was like, your progress is all about to get wiped. Basically. But, man, got nothing to say but numbers go up. Numbers go up. I love when numbers go up.
That's it's like Spore, except it's an idle clicker.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? I loved Spore. I don't care about the DRM. Spore was great. So yes, basically it's like you keep evolving the universe and like you get points and you add things to the ecosystem and they give you more points and you use those points to buy more upgrades and those upgrades give you more points, etc.
And then because it was raining, we had to buy the extremely overpriced food in the cafeteria.
The mac and cheese was the cheapest thing on site.
It was. Honestly, we should have just had 2 side orders of fries.
Genuinely. The fries were the deal of the weekend.
Yeah, almost everything was like $20 or over.
Regardless of what the bao being $20. Seemingly made at best for 2 bao buns. Unbelievable.
Yeah. It was pretty bad.
And I live in New York City. And I expect things to be expensive. But that was crazy. Yep. That was crazy. And it's not that, whatever. I've been to Smorgasburg, but it felt like being at that. Jeez, come on.
Yeah.
The hot dog was like $20.
Yeah. No, I know the hot dog was not $20, but
Yeah,
it was like
I know.
you would need to get 2 hot dogs really for a lunch, and that would have been $20 basically.
No hot dogs for me anyway.
Exactly.
The fried dough was like 14.
Yep.
To which I say dough.
Exactly.
Anyway, after that we had the traditional PAX post lunch when there's not a panel, Jackbox games time. A classic tradition for the Pets at PAX. Some good Jackbox happening.
Yeah. I really liked surfing on a wave of Elon Musk's tainted blood.
Oh, this was also when we saw Jesus Christ.
Yes, we did see Jesus walking around.
No, let me recount this because it's better than that.
Okay.
We saw a man dressed as Jesus Christ, presumably from, what is that game called? Like, I am Messiah.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, I didn't remember it was quite that literal. Yes, we saw Jesus Christ, famed character from renowned video game, I Am Jesus Christ. And that was
going
funny
to the
enough.
bathroom.
So okay, I'm getting there.
Okay, sorry.
So he's walking around. That was funny enough. It was funny enough to see a man dressed as Jesus there. Then he's trying to go into the restroom. Sure, even Jesus has got to go.
Yeah.
Sometimes the Holy Spirit moves you. But people start noticing that he's Jesus Christ and waving like, "Hey, Jesus, hey!" And like he keeps taking one step and like he like does like a little salute. And finally he gets into the restroom. But it was so funny. And then at Jackbox, I say to Emma, "Man, I really hope we see Jesus again." And Emma's like, "Yeah, that's what they were all saying on Good Friday." Oh, good times.
And then we did see Jesus again on the show floor.
The second coming did happen. He had a little sign and everything.
He was handing out blessings that I think were like little hard candies.
Yes. I don't know why you sound like confused by that.
I think he should have stationed himself by the PAX Rising booth, actually.
Jesus Christ is risen. He's risen indeed.
Exactly.
Oh, that's a missed opportunity. I hope he ran into the Cult of the Lamb kids.
Yeah.
Hope they whoa at each other a little bit.
Yeah.
That would be funny. Oh, man. Anyway, yes, Jackbox Games. What was my favorite? You liked Elon Musk's blood. Wait, I'm trying to find the picture. Here's pictures of you looking at spring rolls. Let's see. We went to Mike's also. I feel like listeners should know that. We went to Mike's. Got cannoli.
We walked by a sign that was like, "How do you tell a tourist?" They're carrying around a box of mics, so we were careful to hide it all the time.
You said that? Here's what I just heard you say. I want to preface this by saying I am not an astrology girly.
Okay.
I heard you say, "How do you tell a Taurus?" They're carrying around a box of mics.
A tourist.
That still sounded like Taurus.
A tourist.
A tourist.
A tourist.
How do you tell someone who's not a Bostonian? Anyway. Yes, we did get mics. But my favorite thing from Jackbox was like, it was like one of the voting games. People like write in things. Listeners, what activity do you think is most likely to make a hipster comeback? Fearing the sun or dying of dysentery? Dysentery. That one was very good. I liked that a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, after that, Emma played a game that I did not take notes on.
Yes, I played Love Eternal at the Yizbrid booth. It's like a Celeste-like tough platformer thing. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Like, you shift gravity in it. So you can jump and then you can like shift your which side whether you're going up or down, right? And sometimes you have to do this like in the air, and you have to sort of get used to like the physics of it too, because you'll continue falling one way for a little bit after you switch it before like sort of arcing down into your other new gravitational pull. So I did get stuck on screen, like the first hard screen, I would say. Which was like something where I was like, I could do this, at home by myself. But there's only one computer for this game, and like I'm starting to just jump directly into the spikes instead of like even getting close to what I'm supposed to do. So I had to ask the person to be like, okay, I'm done. I know there's like an end to this demo, but like I'm gonna be here forever, so please reset it for me. Which was fine. They did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. I'll probably keep an eye on that. And it's one where I'm like, I'd like to see what people say about it. Before
there are a lot of
jumping into
platformers
it
out there, so
yeah.
After that, I think this is one of my favorites of the weekend. We played Fresh Tracks, which is sort of a Sayonara Wild Hearts like skiing rhythm game. I felt like the music had some bops.
Yeah.
I felt like this was another game where, God, I have new sympathy for people who like did not play games as children, right? Because whenever I am having to play like a game with an unfamiliar control scheme in a public environment, I'm like, I don't understand how my hands work.
Yeah, in this one you can like move tracks, but you can also lean.
Yeah.
And so I personally was mixing those two up like all the time.
Yeah.
Whether the lean was on the triggers or the bumpers, I don't remember which is which, the ones. And the moving was on the analog stick, which makes sense like when you say it like that, but for me I was like trying to move with the shoulder buttons and trying to lean with the analog sticks, and it did not go very well.
All this to say, I think this is a game that would be very fun, and like you get into a real flow state once you really internalize the controls.
Yeah.
But I liked the tunes that I got to play. I found the rhythm of it all like satisfying. Did you play the one where it's like it says like lean to the side and like you are leaning to the side?
Yeah.
That felt sick.
And messed it up a lot.
Yes, but I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh, I can like hear it now. I'm not gonna sing it, but like
it's also like a bit of like a roguelike, it seems like.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like unlike Sayonara Wild Hearts where you just like die instantly if you hit something.
Yeah.
Which on a couple of songs in that game was like torturous for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because you start hearing the same like 3 seconds of song over and over again. This one you have like a health bar and it eventually, goes up or down. There's ways to like heal yourself by using your sword too. But it seemed like when you die you could like get some upgrades and go back into it kind of thing. But I just stopped after I died the first time, so.
I didn't because I was selfish.
Yeah.
And finally, we closed out the weekend by going to the little arcade room, and I almost played some DDR, but then a guy in a...
Gex.
Yeah.
Gex took over the DDR booth.
Which is too bad, because I'm pretty good at DDR. I would have torn up the pad. But instead, Emma and I played some Mario Kart 2 Arcade Grand Prix. Or Emma played some Mario Kart 2 Arcade Grand Prix. I played some Dark World.
The cursed version of Mario Kart 2.
Something about my cabinet was not right. And it was not nearly as bad on ours as on the people who played before us, where that guy just simply... the course pretty much did not load in and he was just playing in like weird blackness.
Yeah.
But mine still had some stuff that wasn't there.
Yeah.
Didn't stop me from winning.
Yeah.
Madelyn
Barely.
Yoshi.
Barely.
And you were
Cart
in
number
the game.
2, Yoshi. Cart number 2, Yoshi.
Cart number 2, Yoshi.
Yeah, this one has like live commentary that can play. But I think we were changing positions so much and doing things so much that it never really got past like the first sentence. Like, it was
Cart
like,
number 2, Yoshi.
Cart number 1, Blinky.
And that was our PAX weekend.
Yeah. Honestly, the Mario Kart 2 maybe the highlight.
Reasonable.
Did you say it was one of those booths where it's like you have the gas and brake pedal and the steering
I didn't.
wheel?
It's like a real car. What do I gotta do to get a Crash Team Racing arcade booth?
Yeah. But that was fun. I don't think neither of us have played very much Mario Kart.
No.
So
I would play more of it if I could play it in actual little car things. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, very true.
So overall, I concur with Emma's assessment. Like, a fun PAX. I think we did a good job of it. I think we didn't get caught in too many long lines, but I think we also avoided the... I heard some guy, I think maybe it was at Rah Rah Boom, the guy behind us, was like talking about like, oh, on Saturday, like, you're like, oh, that line's really long, and then you spend so much time walking around that you've walked around for as long as you would have waited in line and not doing anything. Yeah. So I think we did a good job avoiding that. And I think there are definitely a few games that I will be interested in playing, potentially, although I am always bad at actually playing games from PAX. You do a much better job of it than me. But yeah, I am thinking maybe PAX West next year.
I think that'd be a fun change of pace, at least.
Yeah. On one hand, we've kind of mastered PAX East. On the other hand, yes, our Delulu hopes that moving it to May. Last year we were like, oh, maybe it's because it's at the same time as GDC.
I mean, it's also like, because I don't live at Boston HQ anymore, like, we have to buy and pay for a hotel. Which puts even more of it. Like, it's like, at that point, why not try something new, right? We're not getting a particular discount for going to PAX East,
So stay tuned for our 2026 decision.
Yeah.
Well, listeners, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Talk This.
It's dangerous to podcast alone.
I always think like a third of the way in that I'm like, oh, the PAX episode is going to be short, and then it's not.
I played a lot of games.
We did play a lot of games. We got some good gaming on. Listeners, did you attend PAX this year? Did you have any favorites that we didn't play? Do you think it's crazy that Elden Ring had a whole bubble thing and you couldn't actually even play it? How heavy do you think the Buster Sword was? Like, how weak do you think Emma and I are that we're complaining about a plastic sword? Or do you understand that it was actually quite heavy? If you were going to give a panel at PAX, because you could. I think anybody could submit a panel and probably do it.
Yeah.
What would you be paneling on? If you have thoughts about this or anything else we talked about this week, hit us up on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and YouTube at Talk This Podcast. You can also visit our website, www.talkthispodcast.com, where you can learn all about the show, check out the games in the hat, and read our blog. But most importantly, if you enjoy the show, you ought to subscribe. We're on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, Pandora Podcasts, online and on the app, Overcast, Pocket Casts, anywhere that you can listen to podcasts. Subscribe to Talk This so you never miss an episode on Sundays. Next week, we're talking about some games for sure.
For our old game, I think we're talking about Valiant Hearts. And for our new game, we're definitely talking about Wanderstop.
Right. Oh, I still need to play one. Maybe I'll download Wanderstop. And you'll make, oh, the whole point of the game is you don't race through it. Yeah, I know.
I'll double check the old game, but I think it's Valiant Hearts. Well, we'll see.
Listeners, you're going to have to tune in to find out.
Yep.
Well, folks, that's it for this week's show. Thanks for listening. Emma, take us home.
This week, I hope that your craft soda is flowing.